So next up, we're gonna be making one of my personal favorite comfort foods, and really that is anything that is Mexican inspired. We're gonna make my Mexican lasagna. We're gonna start with 3 to 4 cups of shredded chicken, and you just wanna do chicken that's already been cooked that you shred up or you dice up, and it doesn't have to be a precise measurement, but about 3 to 4 cups, and that'll be about 1.5 pounds of chicken that's cooked. We're gonna do 1 can of corn, a can of black beans, some enchilada sauce, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, and 2 cups of shredded cheese. Then just for the seasoning, we have 2 teaspoons of chili powder and 2 teaspoons of cumin. And then some tortillas. Now I use corn tortillas because that's what I personally like. They hold up really well in this lasagna, but if you prefer almond flour or white tortillas, you could use that as well. So we're gonna start by making the 2 different fillings for this lasagna. It's just like an Italian style lasagna in the fact that there's layers, but it's all Mexican inspired and it's so easy to make. So we're just gonna do our shredded chicken in there, our enchilada sauce, our black beans. Now if you like pinto beans or a different type of bean, you could do that as well. And then corn. Now, if you are doing lower carb and you don't want to add the beans or the corn, you could add something else like cauliflower rice or something like green chili, something that gives it some Mexican flavor and adds a little bit of nutrition. But I find that the protein in this dish is really, really balanced with the carbohydrates in the beans and the corn. And that's really how I tend to eat, is just balancing everything out. I don't eat low carb per se, but I definitely try and balance my carbs with healthy fats as well as proteins. Then we're going to make our creamy layer, which is going to be Greek yogurt and our seasonings. So 2 teaspoons of each of these seasonings, or you could use your favorite taco seasonings. About 1 to 2 tablespoons should be good. You just want to flavor the Greek yogurt. So we're going to stir that up, get that all mixed in. Okay, so now I'm going to take a 9 by 13 baking dish and I'm going to spray it with cooking spray. And I'm going to start by layering some of the tortillas. They're all going to be different size tortillas depending on what you use. So I'm not going to tell you that you need to necessarily use 6, just enough to kind of cover the bottom. So we're going to have them overlap just a little bit, and I'm going to use 6 tortillas. Then I'm going to add some of this chicken mixture. You can always use a measuring cup to kind of help you pour it in, or you can kind of just pour it in like that. It already looks so, so good, and it's not even baked up yet. Okay, so then we're gonna do half of this Greek yogurt mixture on top of the chicken. You just wanna kind of spread it out as much as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just like a lasagna. It'll all just bake together and be wonderful. Okay, now we're gonna top it with some more tortillas. So essentially we're just repeating the layers that we just did, and we're gonna try and use up the rest of our ingredients. My favorite time to share food with people is when they're having a baby, because since I just recently went through that, I remember so deeply what it meant to me when people brought me meals. I'll never forget my absolute most meaningful time that I had in the hospital was when my sisters brought me food after I had my babies. Like, that was like the most meaningful thing that they could do. And maybe it's because I love to share food with people so much, and like I said, that's my love language. But when they brought me food, my sister Sarah brought me a salad, it was like the best tasting thing I've ever put in my mouth after I had a baby. So, you know, sometimes the hospital food is good, but I definitely would prefer something that someone would make me or think specifically about me to bring. So that meant a lot to me. And of course, when you get home with a brand new baby, there's so much to think about, especially when you have multiple kids to feed. You know, with Maddie, it's just kind of like nice because the baby sleeps a lot. And so you can rest or you can feed yourself during that time. But when you have multiple kids, gone are those days when you can think about yourself. So it's so nice to have food that somebody made for you just in the fridge or the freezer that you can just warm up, and it means so much to people. And then too, when people aren't feeling good, you know, I just recently had a few surgeries and it was the same thing. I didn't really plan for the surgeries. They were kind of emergent, last minute type of surgeries. And so I didn't have a whole lot of food. And so, you know, my mom came over, brought me some food, my sister, and it meant the world to me. So I'm telling you, there is so much joy in not only making dishes for people, but also just thinking about those times when people shared food with you. And so casseroles are just really a great way of sharing food, as well as lasagnas, because it's kind of a no-brainer. Everybody likes them. You can heat them up whenever you need food, and they're easy to make. So if you like Mexican-inspired food, this is a great dish for you. Okay, and that looks great. We're gonna bake it 375 for 50 to 55 minutes.